Motorcyclers fam, we're back today. It's after 5, it's after hours right now, and I figured I'd do a little video here. I build some derby transmissions in my spare time and for my friends, and so we're back here in the tranny shop today. And a transmission that I built back in like 2021, they had it over at Spanish Fork, I think. It's been in at least 10 derbies that we can think of. And it's been really good. It's done really well. But they had it at Spanish Fork and it lost reverse. So we're gonna bring it in, get it torn down, see what it looks like. It's kind of a rush order because he's got a derby like this weekend. So we got a few days to deal with it. It's Monday right now, but you know, ordering parts or any of that stuff's gonna eat up that time real fast. So I have one other transmission that's I think it's a derby transmission. It's got a bolt-on yoke. I don't know if it was ever ran or if it was just something they had ready. But it wasn't nothing that I built or that I don't think anybody built up. So we'll bring in the one that I'd built, tear it down, and look and see what failed in it, and then go from there. If I can fix it, we'll fix it. If not, then we'll use the other transmission and put the good parts out of this one in that one. So let's get moving. All right, guys, here it is. There's very few people that build these 727s for derbies. I'm one of them, and we basically went through this thing back in like 5.5 of 21 for Burns's, and built this thing up. It's done really well. It's been through a lot of abuse. Rowdy's been running this transmission for, like I said, since 21. It's been a good one. It lived longer than I thought it was going to, but you know, talking at least 10 derbies over the last 3 years. So what we're going to do is we're going to dismantle it, take it down, see what it looks like, and then go from there. The bolt that holds the bolt-on yoke into the rear tail shaft was broke, but it come right out with my hands, so that's a win for today. I believe this yoke is like a Narat yoke on it. Works good. Don't have to do nothing exciting. Just drill and tap the hole. It doesn't even have to be that straight. I went and grabbed all my tools. I got my sockets in a magnetic tray. Putting them flat on a shop bench is a thing. So got magnetic trays. They don't wander around the bench at all. So make sure you put them down where you want to. Leave the edge hanging over just a little bit. The bench is a drain bench, so it works good that way. You'll see that I wear these purple nitrile gloves because they're thicker and last longer. These ones are the extra length ones. The regular ones don't really stand up to tears or getting poked or anything. These ones last a while longer on me, so I spend a little bit of, maybe a little bit extra money on these, but not much. It's hurt. Yeah. Well, as you can see in here, there is quite a bit of metal in the bottom of this pan. This stuff is not that hefty. So we'll get it apart and see what it looks like. So this is the filter here, and you can see there's a bunch of metal in this one. It's definitely had a rough go in life here. This thing was good 2 derbies ago. This servo right here failed, and when it did, it popped up out, the snap ring come out, and it jammed this band. I bet we need a band. But that band's toast. If you look at it, there is a ton of friction material and some metal on this filter here. It's just big metal too, not like little metal. But the kind that's bad metal. And there's really not any good metal. Powdered metal is definitely better than metal that's chunky. All right, to get the valve body off, we got to take these bolts out here, and these ones, all the hex-headed ones. But we got to take off the shifters, shift linkage, kick down, or throttle valve, or pressure valve, whatever you want to call it. So the top one is the kick down, or the throttle valve or pressure valve lever, and the bottom one here is the shift lever. Alright, you can see that swiveled just a little bit, and that'll be enough for us to take it out of there. There's lots of metal and crap through the whole unit here, so it'll all have to be thoroughly cleaned. This band here never really gets used much because it's the band for gears that we don't. This is the important one. This is the lower reverse band. Well, as you notice, a lot of my tools are homemade, and I make do with what I got, and I don't go out and buy all the different tools to work on this stuff, the specialty tools that they say you gotta have. If I can't get around it, then I'll go buy it, or if I can't build it, then I'll go buy it. But basically, I like building stuff, and we don't do a lot. Like, we were a transmission shop for a minute, and you know, we're not doing this as a production deal. I do a lot of these to help friends or to do something fun. And so I build a lot of my stuff. I make a lot of my stuff. Yes, there's professional tools that can be had and spent money on and all that stuff, and that's fine. You know, since these are not really making me money, you know, there's no reason to go out and spend, you know, $200 on a pair of special snap ring pliers if I can make it happen with what I got. I don't do a lot of really exotic stuff. I kind of stay to what I do and what I have tooling for. It just kind of depends. So, I mean, you know, it's a professional deal, but like this is kind of an on the side thing with transmissions and some of that stuff. It's not exotic. Like, as long as you pay attention and keep track of where everything goes, anybody can do it. They have manuals on it, and I do have all the manuals, and I even use the manuals when I put them back together, and I've done this for years. Mainly it's because I get interrupted, or, you know, I may lose my place. I want to make sure I remember where I was when I left off. And it's a good reminder. So, you know, everybody has their own deal and their own rituals. I have mine. So what we're going to use a chain and thread the two bolts through the chain, screw them into the pump threads itself, and then we'll just use a pry bar to pop the pump out. There is better stuff for it, yeah, I'm aware. There's better ways and better stuff of doing for pretty much everything I do. But, you know, it works for me, and it's on a small scale, and so there's no point in spending all the money on everything just because, you know, I build a 727, you know, or a few 727s every few years. That kind of deal. So here we go back into it. Give it a pop and it comes right out of there. So there's the pump. Take our bolts out, they go back in the bolt bin. Pump, gasket, leak oil everywhere. Get them set off to the side. Careful not to drag your shirt through the oil. Put the chain away for another day. Get a hold of my squeegee so I don't drag my shirt through the mess. Alright, so the bands are undone. The pump's out. Front pump, I call everything a front pump. Well, I call the front pump a front pump, but there's no rear pump, so I guess it's the pump. So the other bands really aren't worn at all. It's got some material on it because they aren't used. It never gets in second or drive. All right, now we're ready to take out the front drum. Well, the front drum goes on here, and you can take it out in one piece. I took it out separately just because this one was a little sticky. But we've got it loosened up now. Now there's a snap ring in there that holds the output shaft. Don't lose that stuff. Always make sure you know where it's at. It's a lot easier to deal with upside down. Okay, and then there's a bushing that is on here. And I leave it on there. All right, now we're down to the front, or the rear band. Well, as we can see here, let's see here. As you can see inside here, this band is toast. You can see the material flaking right off of it. And this was Kevlar, but that's the end of that. And down all the way inside the case here is the sprag. And this is in good shape. It doesn't look like it's been spinning. So we're gonna leave it there. And let's see. Should be able to pop the tail shaft out of it real quick. There we go. That just picks up right out of there. All right, we got this thing stripped down, pretty much down to as far as it's going to be. There's still a couple little things that are going to come off of it. We got a servo and a few little dumb things, but like basically for a Derby transmission, we're not really concerned with second or drive. I leave them in, at least on this one, just in case, and it saved him a little bit this time because he lost the lower reverse band, and the rear band, you know, it went out, but he could still get second and he could get drive, but the problem was he got hung up to where he had to go backwards. I think we had a couple failures in this whole system. I'm not 100% sure if the servo, it's got the billet steel servo in it here, and before the last Derby, this servo kicked out, and it kicked the snap ring out, and this servo pushed up, jammed up, and we were kind of short on time. So I put it back together with an O-ring, a new O-ring, and everything on it. I'm not 100% sure that there isn't some sort of inadvertent damage to it. I'll look at the case again, but the case seemed like it was okay. I think we are going to replace the servo, just because. And you know, the lower reverse band, or the rear band, I guess what everybody calls it, it was half worn, I would say, when we pulled it apart. And there's really nothing left of it now, and I'll show you here. As you can see, there should be Kevlar material down here on the inside of this, and you can see it's all just flaking off, and it's bare steel underneath it, and there's just nothing left of it. And so, I mean, there's a little bit of material right here on this edge, but it went till it couldn't went no more. It rides on this drum here, and so we're going to have to see how bad this drum is too, because when you slip one to where it's nothing, it can be a problem as well. So we may chuck it up in the lathe, machine it, we'll see. It kind of depends on what the mood is. We have to be pretty fast on this time frame. The planetary unit looks pretty good in here still. I don't see no problems with the planetary unit. So it's not the end of the world, this stuff, but we need to get that rear band replaced. I'll show you what a new one looks like. So this one's a new one from TCI. It's a Kevlar band, and you can see in there the material that's in there. And it's it's about, I don't know, it's not horribly thick, but it's thick enough. And so that's what we put in the other transmission. This is what this one was originally before it burned down. We'll order up another one for spare, just so I have it, just in case. We'll look everything over in the morning, clean everything up, get it ready to go. I don't really see anything else that's too exotic. The servo is going to be the thing. We'll replace it just to make sure. The other part is on the valve body here. Once we get it cleaned up, going to do a little bit of work to it. On the throttle pressure cable or adjustment. So this inner shaft right here turns this little lever down here, and it pushes on this little plunger, and you can see it there. And so you want to adjust that about 3/4 for like derbies and stuff like that, to where you're not actually running actual throttle control. And so we want it about 3/4. And so what we'll do is we'll come in here, we'll figure out the travel, and then we'll drill a small hole right here and put a roll pin in it, just so it's always at 3/4 and we don't ever have to mess with one of these. These Derby transmissions, I mean, they're not long life units. They get abused. The Burnses are really good. I mean, they're smart drivers and they don't really row them too bad. So it's a little hard to figure out what's going to fail, because usually stuff doesn't fail. I mean, they'll break a case or do something like that, but they've been driving for a long time. So, I would say we probably should pull them out yearly and pull them down. This one was kind of the test mule, and we wanted to see what would fail and when it would. We found a few little problems, and we're going to solve them with the next build here. So I'm going to get to cleaning, and I'll get back with you when we get ready to do something fun. All right, we're back today. We stayed late last night getting this transmission cleaned up, ready to start assembling. I'm still waiting on some parts that'll be here tomorrow or late tonight. But I can get the majority of it put together, about 90% or so, before I need the parts to finish it up. But I'll show you what we got. So we got the case here. It's all clean. I went through, painted it. I just cleaned it all up inside and out. We got the sprag is in there. You see all the little springs and roller bearings. Lets it go one way and not another. That's how a sprag works. This sprag's still in good shape. It hasn't spun in the case. It hasn't broke the case out, so we're going to leave it be. And we're going to start putting this thing together. We got parts I still got to clean up here. I got the valve body. I'll walk you through that real quick. So like I was talking about yesterday, on this valve body there is a pressure valve, which is actually the kick down cable. And it is usually right here, a stem that sticks up out. It turns this lever right here, and that lever pushes on this valve that is down in here, right there. And that pressure valve basically adjusts the pressure based on how much throttle you're giving it. And with these 727s, you want to run that. But since this is going to be a Derby transmission, we aren't going to run extra linkages and stuff we don't need. You can get away with, a lot of guys will take and put the linkage on the top of here, and they'll wire it back to where it's 3/4 of the way open. We don't want to have to mess with that just because it's an extra thing to do or an extra thing to forget or whatever. Plus it's a little unsightly and kind of a little. So yeah, I pushed this valve right here all the way in and then all the way out, and I measured the travel, and then I subtracted 25% off of that, and that was how far I needed to push it in to be 3/4. And then I measured it out up here, and I drilled a hole and I roll pinned it. So this thing is always at 3/4, and then I cut the top of this off just so that I know I've roll pinned this one. So now we don't need the throttle valve or the kick down or whatever you want to call it to run with this, because it's always going to be at 3/4. It would be hard on a vehicle if you was running 100,000 miles like that. But since this is a Derby transmission, we're not going to get that many miles on it. You might get 100 miles on it in the lifespan of this unit. So, you know, it's not going to be a big deal, and it will actually improve lifespan for this unit for the limited time that it is running. So we're going to start putting this thing back together, and I'll take you along. All right, as you can see, our little thrust washer is still on there, and I try and keep it on there just because I don't want to lose it. And so the best place to put it is where it belongs. So we're going to set this front and rear clutch packs in place here, and you'll see the ears right here will spline into the ears on the other one once you get down far enough, like that far. And usually once you get it all the way down, it'll be solid feeling and not hitting the ears of the clutches. It'll be nice and solid. You'll hear that sound. On 4L60Es, this shaft will come up and down just a tiny bit. This one doesn't. But we're good. We should be in. I'll give it another turn or two just cause, but it's nice and solid. See, it's not hitting the clutches, it's bottoming out. So now that front and rear clutches are in, we'll put the band on it. And then we'll get the band in there, and then once it's set in, then we'll be getting ready to put the pump in. Alright guys, we're back today, and we're going to start assembling this thing, and well, keep assembling this thing. I got a little farther last night after I stopped videoing, but we'll run you through where we're at right now. I figured I'd get this done this afternoon, and that way Dave can get this thing back and put it in. We had to change plans a little bit, and I'll walk you through that too. So here's what we got. Transmission's together. This is the forward band, or front band, I guess. This is the band strut right here. It goes to the band side of the band there. This is the the servo that actuates it. It pushes up on this, which in turn pushes on this one, which pushes it in. This is the band adjuster right here, and it's out here on the side. Right now it's just tightened down to hold everything in place. We're getting ready to put the rear servo in, and then the adjuster and all the rest of that stuff. The band is down onto the anchor, which is part of this piece right here that we put in to start with. And so we'll get this all put in place right here. We'll set this servo in here, and then we'll get ready to put the valve body on. The other thing is, I did get the front pump in it. It's got the new seal in it. It's all checked out and good, and so that should be just fine. I don't have the plate on it for the vent, but so far we've never needed it. We didn't have it when we first started, so it's just been running without it, and honestly we haven't run into any problems with it. It does leak a little bit of oil out of there just due to venting, but I think that's pretty common regardless. So let's get the rear band, anchor, servo, all that stuff in. Oh, the other thing, while I'm thinking about it, we had to change directions a little bit on this whole deal. I ordered in a new billet rear servo, a billet steel one, and it come in wrong. So this is the one that was in it, which is the billet steel rear servo, but I am missing the steel ring to align it, and this is a rear servo seal, but it's not the same as what was in it, like from the factory, from Shift. This is a stock one, and it's out of another unit that I had parts on the shelf there. And we're just going to put the stock rear servo in it. You can see how it's not very beefy, and these have a habit of trying to turn in the bore, in the hole, and you can see why. And that's why these ones are so much better. But I'm a little leery putting this thing back in. I know this one will work for at least one show, and that's what Dave needs it to do. It's just going to be a one and done show. They just need it for this weekend, so we're going to put the stock one back in it. It should be okay for a show. This one looks good. So we're gonna go in there. We're gonna put make our fingers crossed. We're gonna put the stock one in. We're gonna cross our fingers, and it should be okay. He's ran stock transmissions before. I don't think I'll have to be too terribly careful with it for a one and done, one heat. You know, it's not like a full show. So it should be okay. So we're gonna get that all put in, and I'll show you some footage of me putting it in, maybe explaining a few things along the way, but we'll see how far we can get this thing back together and get Dave to come get it here. So let's get moving. All right, it's all put together. Dave's on his way out to come get it. Oh, I forgot the shift linkage. I gotta put that on right there. But we no longer have a kick down or a throttle valve cable or linkage. It's all done together, and it should be good for this next derby. We'll see how it turns out. I'll let you guys know how it works. I think they're going to derailleur or something this weekend. It's a one and done show. They were in Spanish Fork last weekend, so I'm not sure. I'll ask Dave, and I'll let you guys know. So they should be good to go, and we'll see you on the next one. So thanks for watching.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our drivers. Drivers get ready to go. They're going to ask you when you get the help me count them down. The start to your top. You know, $200 coming in there. Here we go. Look at the right, look at the left. Everybody into it. Let's go. The drivers are ready. The question is, are you, ladies and gentlemen? Count them down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. red. They're not. Judges all clear. 46 cars over there going next for this chance of the game. Here we go. Counting it down with your help. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! And they're on. Johnson. Casey Shields has got to make a hit if he can get off. Zach Carter can't break him up. Casey Shields is high center and nowhere to go. Zach Carter in the 54X needs your help, ladies and gentlemen, to get going again. Casey Shields out in front with the motion. Johnson's got to move around and make a hit. Cheer him on, let's go. Come on, me Clyde, let's get loud, help him out. All we gotta do is get unhooked some way. You can do it. Zach Carter's on run. Oh, and he died. Friends, help him out. Zach Carter can get going with your help. Zach Carter, the 56, 10 seconds left on the clock. Zach Carter, it's up to you as he's going off the board, getting down his Shields and Johnson. That's it for Zach Carter. Give him a big hand for third place. Jackson Johnson's going off the clock as well as he stands up and says, that's it. Casey Shields wins.